Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. This is the pre-match chat ahead of Newcastle's game against Fulham later on today in the FA Cup. Hopefully we can get through to the next round and we can try and get back to Wembley, try and get some cup glory for Newcastle this season. I am down here, as you can see, I am just outside of King's Cross right now. Plenty to talk about in this video. Going to head round the corner to the pub, I think, and then we'll have a little talk about the game today, as well as what Eddie Howe had to say in his pre-match press conference yesterday. And surprise, surprise, he wasn't asked all that much about the Fulham game, but did give a very honest opinion on the Joelinton situation that actually took me back, to be honest. So we'll talk a little bit about that, as well as a little bit on transfers and what maybe Newcastle can get up to in the final week of this January window. Be sure to let me know down in the comments what your predictions are for this one. Can Newcastle get a win? It's a 7 p.m. kickoff. I've just got off the train at 10:30 here, so there's plenty of time to get a few beers in. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, be sure to do so. Plenty of videos later on, the vlog, the reaction. I'll have no doubt had a few beers by then, but hopefully I will be celebrating and cheering a win. Right, let's get to the pub and get into this video. Down here at the Dolphin pub, I thought I'd come outside and talk to you guys, get away from the noise a little bit, but it is early. To be honest, we've literally walked in as it's just about opened, so I think there's still plenty of time for the Geordies to make their way down to London, bringing back Wembley vibes a little bit. Heading down on the train, early start for a game that doesn't start till 7 p.m. And to be honest, big up all of the Geordies who are making their way down here. I've already seen plenty of them at King's Cross. I was chatting to a few actually last night about early buses and the FA actually tweeted out earlier on today talking about the dedication of the Newcastle fans, which they actually ended up deleting and hasn't gone down too well, because the whole point of it is that they've put this game on at a time and have made it really, really tough for the fans to get to and get home from. I am lucky enough that I've got a pal who lives in London, so I've kind of based it around that. We've got the early train down today. I'm staying at his tonight. We're leaving tomorrow morning, but if you were hoping to get public transport home tonight, well, you can't. That isn't possible. So unless you're on a fan bus, you can't. So yeah, they have, annoyed a few people. But we're here. We're going to enjoy it, and hopefully Newcastle can go ahead and get the win later on tonight. Eddie Howe was in his press conference yesterday morning talking about this one. Well, when I say talking about this one, he wasn't really. He was talking about pretty much everything other than this game against Fulham. There's no doubt that, for me, Newcastle will go full strength today. I think it's been great that we have had this kind of Christmas break, and I know we're all sick of it, talking about injuries, talking about fatigue. We have had the break. We shouldn't be fatigued. Now, yes, we are still lacking on numbers. That's the thing. And the longer the game goes on, if we aren't ahead by half-time, by 60 minutes, by 70 minutes, Fulham are a good outfit. And Fulham will bring it to us today. So I think it will be tough. And one of the players that we're missing is Joelinton. Now, obviously, Joelinton had picked up an injury. He's unavailable. He's actually gone in for surgery. Joelinton himself posted his own message on Twitter and Instagram, kind of saying this is another challenge for him that he wants to overcome and come through the other end of. And I think we're all on the same wavelength. We are a way better side when Joelinton plays in our team. And the hope is that he is out for the rest of the season. The hope is that he's back right, ready and fit to blast off again at the start of next season, if he's still here. And this is actually quoted from Eddie Howe himself. Eddie Howe was very honest in his interview when he spoke about Joelinton. And he basically said, that in football, things are always changing. You can never predict the future, but in the current circumstances, it may well be that Joelinton could be sold in the summer, which is mad. What Eddie Howe actually said was that I'm not a fortune teller, but it is a possibility, and I hope that's not the case in terms of Joelinton playing his last game for the club. I want him to stay. I love him as a person and a player, but before a player signs a contract, he has to be happy with everything, and we are not there yet. He has 18 months left on his contract, so it's a possibility that he will be sold in the summer. Now that is totally thrown me off. I know there's been a fair bit of chat about contracts and will Joelinton sign a new deal, and people are a little bit unsure of what could happen next. But for me, we've got to give Joelinton a new deal. I understand that there's a little bit of a line between Isak the goal scorer, Bruno the creator, Joelinton the enforcer, and is his contract potentially going to be quite as much as maybe what you see Isak or a Bruno on? I don't know, but we've got to be getting this guy a deal. I think you look at what Newcastle hope to do in the next few years, it's definitely to have him in the middle being a massive part of that. So yes, very, very strange, I think, in a sense, to actually have Eddie. And you know what, Eddie Howe's very down the line. He doesn't normally come out and maybe give so much info, but he's been very honest about it and kind of saying, I'm assuming those are a few Geordies going to get in the pub there. He's been very honest about that. And then aside of that, he also spoke a little bit about Wilson, Trippier, Almiron, again, trying to be a fortune teller, trying to read the future on that one. What is going to be happening with them? Well, we don't know. 6 days left of this January window, and I don't think Trippier's going anywhere. I think he's too valuable on and off the pitch to let him go. Miggy was spotted down at the RVI yesterday, so people are talking about whether he was down there getting his medical ahead of his move, or was he down there, saying hello to the kids? Was he down there for his own injury issues? We've got no idea, but seeing Almiron in and around the RVI just at the time where you'd expect him to get a medical is possibly adding 2 and 2 and getting 5, but it's looking a little bit like something. And it's Callum Wilson is the one who's been very heavily linked away at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what happens on that one. I think for me, the trouble is if we let Wilson go, we've got to try and replace him. We haven't got any strikers. We've got Isak, and he can't stay fit either. So if we're going to let Wilson go, we've got to replace him. But 20 million bid for a 31-year-old striker who's injured all the time, I think that's one that you've got to be looking at. But Newcastle will power through into this one without Joelinton, without Wilson, I think, because he's still injured. But will Almiron be available today? I would imagine him to play. I think Newcastle will go full strength. I think it will be, well, as full strength as we can be, because there's no Pope either. It'll be Dubravka and goal with Botman, Byrne, Trippier, Shaw. I think it'll be Bruno, Longstaff, Miley in the middle again. Thank God that 17-year-old lad has been so good, because we've needed him. Gordon, Isak, Miggy. And I think that team's good enough to win today. It's just what's on the bench. Positives were that we're hearing that Barnes, Willock are on the way back. And that's the thing, if we can get 1 or 2 players in this window with a few players returning from injury, could we have exactly what we need for an FA Cup run and a chance for some European football. I'll tell you what, I got sent this morning, so I'll read you it before we finish off. Newcastle have not beaten a Premier League side away from home in the 4th round or later since 1999. There you go. Let's hope we can change that today. Thank you for watching the pre-match chat. As I say, plenty of videos later on, so be sure not to miss out. Gonna jump back in the pub, get a few down. Enjoy today, and as I say, hopefully be celebrating later on. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.
So I was jealous for you.
Not quite. Not quite. It tastes a lot like dog. Not far. I didn't do this.